So I finally got my FOIA requests from the FDA in. I will be reading forever. But clearly there's a few things that stand out immediately. As soon as I started going through some of the documents that I requested, I did request information on the policies surrounding the adverse reaction database. How is it used? Is it monitored? Is it sent out to prescribing physicians? I also asked for the data around the approval of Humira. That will take me forever to get through, but policy and procedure is what I know. And I'll start off by saying that the FDA really needs a strategic communications team. Really, I am tempted to write a white paper. They need somebody bad. The first thing that you see, and this is something that I noticed when I reported my own reaction, the database is very difficult to read and understand, and there's no codification or standardization. So somebody could report something as muscle pain, somebody else could report it as a myalgia, somebody else may input that as joint pain, not even the muscle pain. So, I probably saw 30, 40 different ways of saying the exact same thing. So there was no way for me to easily sort reactions based upon what I wanted to find. The second thing that I noticed is once I started going through the policies and procedures, I did see that there was a quarterly report. They do a quarterly report of everything that comes into that database. That wasn't easy for me to find prior to getting the FOIA. It's still not easy for me to find now. When you download this information, it comes to you in text form. You can download it into an XML or an SCII file. It's not easy to open. They're very large. You need to be a computer scientist basically to figure out how to get this simple document open. And they use a lot of coding. It's not easy to read. You have to reference coding if you can even get the information downloaded at all. So for the standard average consumer like myself, this just isn't easy to understand. The part that I'm most concerned about is it's not that easy for physicians to understand. And, since I've started doing a lot of this research, I have said many times, one of our biggest problems right now in the United States of America, of many problems, is the shortage of medical professionals. And they're leaving in large numbers. We can't just add work onto them. This needs to be easy, and that's really what I would have expected from an oversight agency such as the FDA. Why is this not put in simple language? And if you have, let's say, many reports of a reaction that maybe you didn't spell out clearly when you first put out the medication, why is that reaction not sent to the prescribing physicians? I've said this whole time, there's one of two things that's happening. Either one, I experienced what I experienced because my doctor was incompetent, or two, I experienced it because the FDA did not communicate all of the possible reactions. It turns out my reaction was pretty common. I continually find people who had the exact same reaction I did. So it's only one of those two things. And the more I learn about how the FDA does this, the more I'm concerned that it really is a problem with the FDA. A few other things I've noticed. I'm not required to report my adverse reaction, and I understand that. A patient could confuse a lot of things. I still confused many days. Is this a symptom I'm still having from that severe reaction I had? Is this a symptom of my fibromyalgia? Is this a symptom of my long COVID? I have all the problems. I don't know what all of them are. I need help from a medical professional to figure those things out. So I understand why it's not a requirement of consumers, but what I don't understand is why it's not a requirement of physicians. My prescribing doctor, he didn't diagnose me as having a reaction, but he did know that I had it because I made sure he knew. As soon as I got to a doctor who was able to diagnose me as having this reaction to Humira, I immediately called my prescribing doctor and let him know that I had to come off the drug because of this reaction. That should have been a required reporting moment. So All of that being said, I still have a lot of work to do. I have so many notes here, but I hope that I have more information for everybody can share what I continually learn and hopefully make a difference, because my number one goal is still and will always be to ensure this never happens to another patient. I don't want anyone else to have to go through the 19 months of hell that I did. So that's what I've learned so far. Hopefully I'll have more information for you in the next week or two. I have a lot of reading to do in my schedule.